Hi class, this is a video to show you how to square the drawing. So you can see that I have a drawing on Photoshop. It's an orthographic drawing, and before I submit a drawing I need to square the drawing. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to convert this file to a smart object. Basically that will do all of the editing without changing the original file. And I will go to my rulers, which is on the edge of the window over here. If you want to bring rulers up into your window, you do Command R, so that will take it away and add it to your window. I'm now going to add guidelines to the drawing so that I can see what part of the drawing is straight and what part of the drawing is tilted. So now that I have my guidelines, I can press Z, go to my magnifying glass and zoom in. And now I can see that there's a corner that is a little bit tilted, so I'm going to go to skew. The skew is in Edit, Transform, Skew is the tool. We're going to click on that and it gives us handles on the corners, and if you grab one of those handles you can pull the drawing to the guideline. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and look at the margin. That's why we have a margin on the drawing, and I'm going to make sure that the margin is parallel with the guidelines. So let me just drag this one up. Okay, so that's pretty good. I press enter or return, and then I bring down another guideline just to give me my final crop so that I can crop parallel to my page. If you notice this square over here, or where the two vertical lines and the two horizontal lines meet, if it's a square, you can pretty much tell that it is the same distance. So visually, if you can see that it's a square, it's pretty much the same distance. So I'm just going to move that in a little bit. All right, just get used to, using your eyes and judging whether something is in proportion rather than having to measure it. Okay, so now we go to the crop tool. C is the shortcut. Click on that, and we put the cursor at the corner of the guideline. And now I can press enter and I can crop the image. To go between the guideline on and off, I go to Command semicolon. That will take away the guidelines. And if you notice, the top of the drawing is slightly lighter than the bottom of the drawing because my desk lamp is, of course, closer to the top of the drawing. So I'm going to go to Image, Levels. And in Levels, you could see a graph with 3 arrows at the bottom of the graph. The arrows indicate where you want to put the value of the white, the middle tone, and the black. Okay? So before I do anything, I am going to lighten the midtone so that there's more highlights. And of course, that also makes this a little bit lighter, right? But now we're much closer in value because in my graph, there's more of the upper tones than the lower tones. And I'm going to go down to this slider over here, the output levels. 0 is black, 255 is white. I'm going to bring that output level a little bit lower so that we don't have a pure white. And I'm just going to tweak it a little bit so that we get as close as possible to the same monotone from the top to the bottom. You can also increase the blacks as well if you want. If you want to make your pencil line a little bit darker. And if you're happy with that, press OK. Okay, so the last thing we do before we save the file, we have to flatten the image. So you go to Layers. We are in Smart Object mode, but what we want to do is to flatten the image. Okay, now this is the Smart Object. It records every move you make to your image. But since we don't want to keep those moves, we flatten everything. and it all goes down to one layer. So now that I have a background layer or one layer, I go to Save As, and I can choose where I'm going to save this drawing. So why don't we call it Ortho or Project 1, Ortho, okay? And then we could save it either as a JPEG or a PNG file. Now, before you do that, you should also check your image size. So by default, if you shoot on a phone, it's going to be 72 dpi, and it's going to have this type of pixel range. We really don't need to have a huge file, but we would like to have more resolution, right? So I go to resolution, I change it to 300. The height could be 1000, which is fine. And as you notice, you go from 22 to 2 megabytes, and that's pretty okay. All right. So if you look at the inches, it is now 3.5 inches by 3 inches wide. So that's pretty acceptable because we're not going to print this, but we're just going to submit that as an assignment post. And if I enlarge it to 200%, I still have the resolution because I've increased the dots per square inch from 72 to 300, right? So I'm not losing any resolution even though I'm at 200%. Let's do another 300%. It's still holding there, so not bad. Okay, sorry. Okay, so back to the fit in window mode, which is Command 0. Now I'm going to save the image P1 Ortho. Okay, and I'm going to save it as a PNG file. I prefer to do PNG files because it is not compressed. Save, and I am done saving the file. And now you can submit your drawing to the assignment. Thanks for watching.